All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of LearnBiz The Podcast. I am Sandy B, and I'm so excited to share with you today's guest. But before we introduce today's guest, I'm going to say good morning to Miss Lisa K. How are you, Lisa?
I'm doing great, lovely Sandy B. How are you doing this beautiful, amazing morning?
I'm just hoping that my people don't drive me crazy today. That's all I'm saying a little prayer internally because we have those days some days.
Yes, we
Um,
do.
Guys, you know that we've been bringing you interviews of a lot of different folks over the past, I don't know, we were on almost at a year at this point.
It's true.
And we always want you to be up to date. So please be sure to click subscribe so that you can follow the updates of the channel. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel at B is for BIZ. You'll see that right there in the little ticker at the bottom. And we thank you so much for those who have supported us through our Cash App to support our channel and the movement of supporting the Black entrepreneurs. So you can always send us a Cash App at the $ LearnBiz, all one word. So guys, let's go ahead and get started today. I have an interesting guest today because we don't always get to speak with the nonprofit world, which is a world that has a lot of movement, especially in this day and age where there are a lot of services being provided out in the community. And sometimes people aren't aware of these services and programs. But today, our guest is going to share a little bit of insight and give us an understanding of how this nonprofit world operates. And this time, we're talking healthcare. I think the last time we did a nonprofit, we were talking about social services that were in a little different category. So I am so happy to introduce our guest, Richardo Jackson from Campbell Health Solutions. Good morning, Richardo.
Good
Welcome.
morning. Good morning.
All right. Well, I'm so glad to have you today. And I'm going to allow Lisa to kick us off because I always love the way Lisa starts off our interviews. But thank you so much for joining us this morning, Richardo.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Richardo, she loves my who are you type questions. And so it's a good way for you to kind of introduce yourself the way you want to. So I'll just ask you, who are you?
So, my name is Richardo Jackson. I am a native Jamaican. Uh,
You'd be like, Wagwan.
Wagwan. I've learned how to hide my accent really well. I lived in New York City for over 20 years before relocating to Florida. Um, and the last 21 years I've spent working in HIV prevention, HIV education, STDs, sexual health, um, just ensuring that people who are, sexual health education, ensuring that people who are at risk for HIV can get the resources they need, but also to help people who are living with HIV to get access to those services and to also prevent the next wave of people from getting HIV. So it's like a multi-pronged approach towards doing that. But I am a husband, a father of two, um, point five, my doggy. Um, uh,
That's nice.
I went to a bunch of different schools and graduated with a bunch of different things. So if people were interested, they can look me up on LinkedIn, Richardo Jackson, and they can see the full history.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that you're here with us this morning. What led you to this current path that you're on in this nonprofit world, helping people with STDs, helping with AIDS, HIV prevention? What led you here?
So years ago, I had a friend who um, was was drugged and raped at a party and left on the subway station. Um, and then later found out that he was HIV positive. Um,
Wow.
but then outside of that, did not really have family support or family education. Um, so I took that on as kind of like this personal journey to help and to kind of like help others. Um, and then, he had basically taken his life because his family did not support him. Um, their religious belief just would not allow them to make room for their biological child. Um, so it was just a mess. But from then, it was something that I've taken on and ran with over the years. And part of me always wanted to make sure that organization have sustainability and kind of like have the resources to help people. And so we put the work in building organizations and making sure that the infrastructure was there to support individuals like him, male, female, it doesn't really matter, just anyone. Um, and then 2 years ago, I lost my mom to lung cancer. And so it was like, as I was going through her stuff, I realized that she was still a business owner. And, she was the kind of person who would give you the clothes off her back. She didn't need to know who you were. She didn't need to know what you do or where you're from. She would put you up in our home. that was the
Wow.
kind of woman she was. She would put you up, clothe you, help you to find jobs. She would provide you.
They don't make them like that anymore.
They certainly don't.
Oh gosh.
Wow. So we had a bunch of different people staying in our homes from Haiti, from Grenada, from Trinidad.
Wow.
So our world was very multicultural and very diverse. And so seeing all of the different needs that they had over the years of people not having resources, people not understanding how things work, people not having the education to take care of themselves or to, get certain jobs, it just kind of like collided with what I've been doing over the last 21 years. And I was like, why am I not like doing something that I can put all of my energy into? And so that's when Campbell Health Solution was born. And we purposely did not call it services or purposely did not call it a clinic or something, because we wanted to leave room to expand to as many issues as possible that were impacting communities of color. And I named it after my mom.
Wow. Mrs. Campbell. How befitting an honor. Thank you for sharing that part of your journey. That's so amazing. I'm going to have more questions, but I'm going to turn it over to Sandy because I know she definitely has some questions for you as well.
Absolutely. So, it's interesting when I hear people talk about, their backstory and why they got involved. But you're now carrying the same torch that your mom did in terms of being a help in the community. What types of services can be found at Campbell Health Solutions?
So our primary base, I would say, of service is our education program. And so basically, we work with people who are living with HIV, particularly those who are newly diagnosed. And one of the things that we do is that we provide education to help them to get through some of the newness of their diagnosis. HIV is not something you can just give back. It's not something that's going to go away. You have to, you learn how to live with HIV. And so we're part of that learning piece. It's like, here's how you live with HIV. Here's how you go back to going to school and you get back to, having a family. You get back to doing all these amazing things and being amazing by learning how to live with HIV. But on the other side, we help individuals who want to tell their families or disclose to their families. We help them to provide education to the families. So this way, the families can then be more of a support system to them, and we can eliminate some of the stigmas and the barriers to family, where families might say, "Oh, you can't live here anymore because you have HIV," or you need your own separate dishes or your own separate cups. And the reality is you cannot acquire HIV from drinking off the same cup, from eating off the same plate, from sharing the same shower. And we see so many stories of people just that family members not understanding that. And so it makes the person living with HIV feels like crap. And sometimes even they get kicked out. So now they're experiencing homelessness. If they get kicked out, they may not have a place to stay or food to eat. So now they're experiencing hunger. And then sometimes they might have to couch serve, right? So if they couch serve, then that creates like a whole bunch of different dynamics, drugs, alcohol, sexual assault, all of that. So we're trying to provide education to families to reduce family and individual stigma and discrimination. But we also offer HIV testing, Std screening. We also offer Chit Chat, which is kind of like a mental health check-in where you can just call in and just kind of like talk to someone and
Right.
shoot the breeze. We live in a very stressful world. and then our services kind of like go on, and all of that can be found on our website. Our motto is not to take people, because we know sometimes other programs tend to be very like, this is my client kind of
Right.
stuff. Our goal is not to take people's clients. So our program can work with anyone regardless of where they are. It's basically take what you need. That's the approach that we use. Take what you need. It's an equitable approach. If the clients are receiving services in one area and they love their doctors and they want to stay where their doctors are, that's perfectly fine. But they might want to have, come by and say, look, I just want to come by and talk to somebody or talk with somebody who can understand from my perspective what HIV is. And kind of like understand the struggles that I'm going through, and walk me through that. And we walk people through it, and then they get back to doing what they do without having to switch medical provider and all this other stuff. We don't advertise it. That's not what we're here for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're here to just provide what you need. You can take what you want. We're a la carte.
I love that. You know what? Good morning, Doug. One of our favorite supporters is live watching with us. Doug, here we have Richardo Jackson with a nonprofit organization called Campbell Health Solutions. So, Richardo, it's interesting to me always when I hear about people starting nonprofits, because you could have started a for-profit business and taken another avenue. What inclined you to make this a nonprofit? And can you tell us a little bit about the process of becoming a nonprofit?
So I wanted to, I thought about that. And the idea is that sometimes people always put out there and say, oh, you can't make any money from having a nonprofit. And that's not really true.
Right.
We want the real part of the big thing is that with having a nonprofit, you definitely have more access to funding, to like grants and certain things like that. And you also definitely can have like a really greater impact. So for us, it's not just the services that we're looking at, but we're looking at how do we continue to create ripples of social impacts that will continue to go throughout communities. Because if we help families to understand HIV, then we're giving them opportunities to get tested. Then that's one family unit that will now understand how HIV is transmitted, how to protect themselves, and then they can kind of like continue to create ripples, right? And so it's, and we also wanted to make sure that services continue to be free, continue to be accessible, and continue to be, in some cases, affordable, and we can provide the help that we need. And plus, if you're a college student, you can and you volunteer with us or work with us, you get that student loan reimbursement. so all around, it really does help. But so the first you would start with like an incorporation, to make sure that you create a legal entity for your business,
right?
And then from there you would go through the paperwork to establish a 501c3 organizations. Now, there are different variations of the 501 designation, which is that nonprofit designation. So there's like, I think there's like A, B, C, and some other stuff, or 3, 4. So there are different designation. Like if you're a faith-based organization versus a community-based,
Right.
and so it also depends on certain things. But you know, like if you work with a consultant, they can walk you through which ones would probably be the best designation that you should apply for based on the services that you have to offer.
Okay, good, good. Well, I'm going to pass it back to Lisa. I'm going to remind folks that are watching, please click the subscribe button. Please click the like button. Please share this video. We always want to provide this information to the community because there may be someone out there that wants to start a nonprofit, and we have someone here that can answer those questions if you have any. So go ahead, Lisa.
Thank you, Sandy. Richardo, just picking up a little bit on where Sandy kind of left off. How did you have a consulting team from day one when you first had the idea to form your nonprofit, or how did you exactly approach it? Let's talk about some of the weaknesses, the weak links in getting the business set up, if you had any. Love to have you share that information.
So I relied on a lot of my experience over the years of working in HIV prevention and working within hospital systems and all of that. So that was part of the driving force that kind of like helped me to navigate, because I was used to navigating the system. But if you don't, it's important to connect with other nonprofit organizations where you can kind of also, you know, they can provide assistance, which is great. And you know, but funny enough, we literally just are working on another project that will definitely help with this, which I'll share with you in a little bit. And so you might feel like you have to go the way by yourself. You don't have to. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. If you find other community partners or community folks that you can trust, and, you know, sometimes they're more willing to help walk through the process. So like with me, there were other community partners that I've worked with who were like, I would go and I'll sit down and I was like, okay, I know this, but I just want to go over it. So this way you can validate me. So I was like, so I have to fill out this form, right? And then I have to do this, and then I have to do that. And so like some of the legal aspects that need to get done can be very scary. So it's good to have someone to kind of like run that against and say, okay, what do you think? Should I fill this out? Should I go here? Like, you need to get a business tax license. You know, you need to get like a clear waiver if you're going to offer like testing. You need to, if you want to offer some free service within your counties, like you need to work with the local health department. So kind of just understanding those different pieces. So this way you can get like if you want to offer HIV test, you need a site number. And then in order to get a site number, you need to get a contract or an MOU, which is a memorandum of agreement with the county health department. And then you will have access to their free testing supplies. And so it's not something that will just happen like in a week or two. So you have to keep your energy up, keep your optimism up. And that's the other thing too. It's like, so you'll find that your passion for something is going to kind of like take you very far, but you also have to kind of like temper that and kind of like space it, because you don't want to become burned out before you even like open your doors. And
that's true. That's true. You don't want to be burned out before you get started.
Yeah. So and it will feel like that some days, right? It'll feel like that some days. So you have to kind of like schedule yourself, you know, keep your own schedule. You'll kind of like have to network with the right people and build strategic partnerships. and kind of like leverage some of those relationships and resources that you have to say, hey, I'm doing this thing, and here's what I'm trying to do, and do SWOT analysis and
Yeah.
set goals.
Well, where'd you find? I mean, where'd you find people? I mean, I know there are a lot of people out there with need. Where'd you go to find them? How did you advertise that you're out there in that space?
So I just went to people who I've known over the years that I felt like I can trust. I can trust them to provide me. Like they've been like they've run their agency for the last 10 years. So I'm like, all right, if you've been in business for the last 10 years, you must have some skill sets that I can,
You must have some people.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's some other folks who kind of like are like they're you need your cheerleaders, because thanks to my family and my husband for really pushing me, because there are days when I'm like, I don't know if I chose correctly. And he was like, go do it. So you're definitely gonna need support, and if you can get
Nice.
and support may not always come from your family, and may not
Trust.
always come from your
Yeah.
friends. So
That's
just
true.
understand that. And then also, sometimes you might find a close group of like associates or colleagues who might be able to say, you know what, whatever you need, like, let me know, I'll help you out, stuff like that. So you have to know your network.
Yeah.
One thing that you can do too is, like, before you even begin, sit down and look at the people and just kind of like make a list. Like, who has an organization? Okay. Who has
I
done
like
this
that.
for like a while?
like
Do like
That's
an
smart.
inventory, right? So this way you know
Mhm.
specifically who to ask, because not everybody will be able to take you there. Not
Right.
everybody, someone can't show you how to be a doctor if they're not a doctor themselves.
That is
So
so true. So you leverage your resources. You learn, obviously, over time, the value of networking, of making powerful alliances, and you've been able to amass a lot of these resources for what you now offer. Can you tell us what the current state of affairs is with HIV infection rates? I mean, I would like to have thought at this point that this was a thing of the past. Where are we with this thing?
Before you answer, Richardo, let me make sure I say a shout out to my Sean Denise. Good morning. And also let me say a shout out to Rigo,
Good
our
morning.
network, our family here in
Yes.
this YouTube space. Go ahead,
Doug,
Richardo.
my Sean, Rigoberto, thank you all for your support. We have our faithfuls. We are very, very blessed. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. No, and you're right. Every year, we feel like we get better with HIV and STDs, but the rates continue to be high, particularly among Black and Brown people. Specifically, when we were talking about Florida, we were talking about Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach, who are always in the top 1, 2, 3 for the highest rates of HIV, highest rates of STDs.
Still?
Always. There might be some changes where it's like Broward, Miami, and then Palm Beach.
Highest rate for COVID. I mean, we're maxing out in all the wrong ways. But
Exactly.
yeah, why?
Because people still don't. It's like when you educate one wave of people, then the next group of people come behind that, right? And then like you have to teach them all over again. So it's, if you think of it like a course in college, right? Your first year, intro to psychology. I don't know. When you go through that class, you leave that class, you're like, oh, I know so much stuff about like social dynamics of people and all of this stuff. And then you move on to your other classes. Now you're better equipped to kind of like navigate some of that stuff. But then the folks who are coming in from high school, they don't know nothing about that. So then they get into this class and you have to teach them the same thing all over again. And so it's kind of the same thing in the community where, you'll teach people about HIV, you'll put out stuff and all of that. And then next year, those people move out of the community, new people move in, or more people move in or whatever the dynamics is, now you have to be like, oh, do we put up the billboard again? Do we put out the, so there's always kind of like influx of people coming in, people going out. Then we have to cater to like different cultural belief, different cultures, different languages, make sure stuff is in particular languages. So this way folks can not only just read and understand, but that they're seeing and they're hearing, because that's also important.
Okay.
And
That's
also
true.
understand
different languages. I'm sorry, different languages. And what about the ages of the folks that like I guess the worst population groups in terms of infections? What is that age range? I just want to get that in there.
So they're young adults, definitely are high. They're seeing increased rates of like STDs and among like young adults, seniors now, the over 50 crew.
Seniors.
Wait, so young adults meaning like those that not teenagers. You're talking about like 21, 22, like that?
So usually when we refer to young adults or even youth, we in HIV world, we usually mean 13 to 24, somewhere around there.
13 to 24?
Yes, you guys need to start talking to your kids.
What is going? I don't understand. Is it because
we live in a very sexual world, and we use sex to sell everything on TV.
You said 13.
Yeah.
I'm done. Let me close up shop.
I didn't know 13-year-olds could get venereal diseases.
Yep. I mean, even if they're not having penetrative sex, anything that they're doing orally, so you might have, let's say you have two teenagers who are definitely having sex, and so they're having sex. Someone got acquired chlamydia, and then they break up because teenage relationships are like 2 weeks, and then now
what?
And then now that person is now
Lord.
dating someone else, and that person's like, you know what, I'm not gonna let you penetrate me, we're just gonna have oral sex. Now that person acquires chlamydia in their throat,
Richardo,
and then they break up.
Richardo, my Sean Denise always talks about this topic with the kids. She said he sounds like me. Parent your kids. Parent your kids.
I'm sure parents didn't even realize they had to. You think parents should know that they need to talk to children about oral sex at age 13? I don't know that parents even know. No, but anyway, we probably should be talking
Well, that's why Campbell Health Solution is prime for that market, right? Because we help families to be able to talk to their kids about that. So you can dial up a session if you want to get the information to say, like, how do I talk to my teenagers about this? And we can work through some stuff. And then you might say, after you're done, you might say, you know what? I don't really know. You can do what my sister does. She's like, you need to schedule your nephew a session.
I like that.
So in that case, they can talk to us one-on-one, or we can do it where it's like we speak as a group. But the most important part is, I think parents, we have to take a different approach by making sure that we keep in my house, sex is a safe space for our family. So our 14-year-old can come and talk to us about sex anytime, any subject, whatever. No judgment, no penalties, no whatever, because we want to make sure that we are the source of the right information. And so, and then we talk about it where it's not like, no, you can't have sex. You have to wait until you're married. We don't put marriage and religious things in there. We tell people why abstinence is better, because then you don't have to worry about getting something, or you don't have to worry about all the pressures of having to do things that you don't want to do. And then, when you get older, you'll find someone who will appreciate the fact that you waited, And then also, if you do decide to have sex or do decide to explore, then make sure that you're using protection, that you understand what the consequences are But the most important thing that we taught him is that you should wait until you're mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually ready to deal with the consequences that
Look, my Shonda says, come on, abstinence.
Come on, abstinence. Come on,
said,
baby.
look, kids are PETA, pain in the ass, but you got to talk to them all the time about everything. That's important.
Wow.
I still see parents who they'll come by a table and there'll be condoms on there, and instead of using that to talk to their kids about sex or whatever, they're like, oh, leave that. That's for adults only. You're none of that.
Oh my God. See, that's what I mean. Parents can be out of touch, right, Richardo?
Yes.
Parents can be out of touch. And so what you're saying is that if you don't know how to start that conversation, if you don't know where to begin, bring them to you and you will talk with them and educate them. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Or if the parents want to, because we understand and we respect that certain families have different religious, affiliations and religious beliefs. And so we can work with the parents to get that information, and then they can deliver those messages in a way that works within their religious beliefs. But if parents don't really matter, if that part doesn't really matter, then they can just either sign them up with us for virtual sexual health education. And for younger ones, I know people will say, wow, but you're going to talk about like sex and all this stuff with 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. We start talking about self-image, and we talk about bodies and how your bodies change and as you grow. So we teach people about their bodies, and then we talk about why they should love their bodies, because when you have folks loving themselves and loving their bodies, they're not just going to let anybody do anything to them. So we start there with our 13-year-olds.
We got to get my Sean up here for the Amen choir. A is for abstinence.
My Sean says modern parents are out of touch. And if you watch my Sean's channel, you're going to see a lot of these modern parents and the nonsense. And it definitely aligns with what you were saying, Richardo, about the rates. Because if you're saying these rates are starting at age 13, we're not even getting into the adult age yet. We're starting at, these kids are just getting into high school, if not still in middle school, kind of transitioning.
Right.
So, wow.
And you figure they have time, they get out of school early. What are they doing?
They got time.
Oh my God.
They need to be doing some work.
Right. They're at the park playing, they're hanging out. By the time you get home, they've done so many things.
They had a whole nother side of their whole life. And not to mention the 50-somethings, all the folks, the seniors catching HIV.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that? What's up with that? We're supposed to know better, right?
Well, the thing is that we have, I think sometimes people forget that, when seniors go inside like a nursing home or a senior living facility, we kind of forget sometimes that, hey, these people are still, have feelings and emotions, and they still want to get down and do some things.
Look at Lisa. Lisa's like, nah.
But I think that they, the part is that they just kind of they sometimes they get to the point where you can almost trace all the STDs and HIV back to one or two people, right?
Oh no, not Mr. Fred in bed number 6. Oh
no. He might get the little special pills and
Oh my God, I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry, my seniors.
So it's true. And if you ever have a health fair at anywhere where seniors are, they will collect that lubrication.
You better stop.
They will collect that lubrication, but they won't take the condoms. So that's why it's important to understand, to really talk to them about kind of continuing to be safe, because I think they're letting their guards down, because they're what am I going to do? I'm already, 70 something, 60, so we want to make sure that, we do that.
Oh, my Sean Denise is killing me this morning. She said people think sex ends at 40. I see it on my chat. Look, y'all need to watch my Sean Denise. Shout out to my Sean Denise.
So basically, there's life after 40 when it comes to sexual relations.
And
so
60 and 70.
And 70. So I understand where, 60, I understand where lubrication could be important, but why are they forgetting to take the condoms? Like, they should know better from childhood.
They're not having no children, Lisa.
Well, you're right. You're right though, because that's what a lot of people think condoms are for. People think condoms are solely for the purpose of not getting pregnant. They don't think about HIV, they don't think about STDs. And sometimes people just kind of like have it in the back of their head, like, well, I'm 70 right now, like, and I'm in a senior living facility or assisted living facility, whichever one it is. They're like, well, I'm not going to catch anything. It's just, the same people I'm around all day. So,
right.
Or they're thinking, I'm gonna die of something, That's ridiculous. But yeah, okay, Sandy, let me toss this back over to Sandy. This has been a very eye-awakening discussion. And Richardo, thank you for being in this space. Are you like a grain of sand on a beach? How big is your reach? How big does your reach need to be? I mean, it just seems like it's a massive problem to me.
So we do a lot of work. We work across right now 21 counties. So we have which we just realized our reach, honestly, because we thought we were only serving Palm Beach County, but then we realized, wow, we have all these people that we're talking to across 21 counties. So we're really starting to shore up some relationships in each of those counties, just to continue to make sure that parents and individuals can have access. We do also do some online engagements on some dating sites, some dating apps. We try to talk to folks about HIV and getting tested and why they should get tested every 3 to 6 months if you're having multiple partners, if you're not using condoms, and the list goes on and on. And we look for strategic partnerships. So if folks want to collaborate with us, we do training in group sessions as well. So we do training over Zoom, we do it in person, we make it fun and engaging. And outside of that too, like we have families who say, oh, my kid might be LGBTQ. I don't understand what pronouns to use, or I don't know how to engage them or what to say. So we do have a class, or we have some training materials and programs that we do with them so they can understand their child, understand how to work with. Yeah, so we have a lot.
That's important. Now, a couple quick things, and I'll toss it back to Sandy. Pronouns. Do you do pronouns training these days? Because I understand that some children don't want to be referred to as he or she, but they rather be referred to as it. I don't understand, but do you do that type of training?
Yeah, they do like they and them, or there's like they also have no defined gender, so they're like non-binary, or because of the way how we see sex is assigned at birth, not decided at birth. It's just so. But there are ways to kind of like work around that in terms of working with individuals and working within families, particularly. Okay. And so I think that's usually where a lot of that starts. So when someone, which it says, oh, I don't identify as male, I identify as female, families are like, well, you're my brother anyway, so that's what I'm going to call you. And it's like, can we just get the respect though? So it doesn't take anything, but we do some education around LGBTQ sensitivity. And we do that for organizations as well. So,
and pardon my ignorance, but the whole fingernail polish with men thing, what is that born out of? Is that LGBTQ as well?
No, not necessarily. I think a lot of it's just people are just expressing themselves. And I think for a very long time, things were just kind of like females do this, males do that, and now people are like, why can't I just paint my nails if I want to paint my nails? You know,
I
and
see
also
this freedom. I mean, I'm glad that people are moving away from, you know, like these
the gender
defined
construct.
boxes. Yeah, it's good to see that though.
And also, if you're a dad and you have, you know, tween daughters, you know, they're doing nails and makeup on their dad, like you're not, you know, so you'll see some dads who are just like, well, my daughter painted my nails, so like,
and they're proud of that. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. What's your overall reach though? Like, how many people have you touched in the past calendar year? How many people have you helped?
So far we've educated, I think, over 350 individuals. So we're
it's pretty good,
and that's only within like the last, I would say, maybe 6 months.
How many people would you like to touch in the next calendar year if you can have it your way?
Everyone in Florida. I think everyone should sign up for one session of my HIV education sexual health class. I think everyone in Florida should just sign up for a free session, and it's free. It's free.
I'm gonna do it just to educate myself, because that's how we get away from being ignorant, right? The more we're educated, the less ignorant we are.
Absolutely.
So, Richardo, you know that the question becomes, do you have a YouTube channel? Because you got an open base here on YouTube. There are billions of people on YouTube. So we might need you to set up that Campbell Health Solutions channel and get yourself subscribers and really start to spread it, because I could really see how your information can spread all over the US and overseas, because you're not restricting yourself with boundaries. You're doing things virtually, and that just means kind of your doors are open. So do you have a channel on YouTube or anything like that?
All of our social media handles, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, is all Campbell Health Solutions. Definitely, we've just been live streaming some shows, but we haven't really branched out into the full-on thing yet. Remember, you know, I'm still kind of like we have a very small team right now. I think.
Look, my Sean ain't hearing it. She said he needs a channel. He just needs to turn on his camera. And remember that grandma got run over by a reindeer, so she needs some help. And my Sean also is saying, look, all these languages, you know, this goes against the English language. I refuse. It's a challenge. So look, you're going to have a lot of base of people that you can speak with. So we're going to work on this, my Sean. We got this in the working.
We got to get Richardo in this space, because what you're saying is very powerful. Like, I feel more educated just talking to you. Sometimes you don't even know that you're ignorant about things. You don't know until you know. So thank you for illuminating.
Thank you. And that's what we do. We try to make conversation really easy. So if someone were to schedule a session, this is exactly how our conversation would go, right? It's almost like a tailored session, because we'll start out with a base, but then you'll have the opportunity to ask and talk about the things that are most important to you. So this way, we're not just going over stuff that you already know. We want to kind of like move the conversation further. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, Richardo, I found your channel, so I'm about to share your channel, and that's what's going to happen, because you are Campbell Health Solutions also here on YouTube.
Richardo, do you remember how much it cost you to get your nonprofit filed and the paperwork? Do you remember about how much it cost?
So I think roughly, I would say, you know, in order to do like your LearnBiz, I think it was like $100 and something to do the nonprofit like consulting piece. It depends on your consultant, depends on how much you've done for yourself. And if you're just starting from scratch, it might be somewhere between like $1,000 to maybe $1,500, depending on your consultant. If you've already have some stuff already started and in the works, then that fee might be more like $1,000, depending. So, just speaking for me, it's I had some stuff already in the works, and so it was roughly about $1,000 to complete the rest. But then, you have to think about all of the other applications and stuff that you might need. So, like, to get your business tax license might be an additional $100, and to apply for like a CLIA waiver, which you need in order to do to do any type of approved test, will probably basically start around like 180. And then you have to look at, like, from there you can look at costs like building out a website. If you're going to have someone do it versus you doing it, then that might cost, on average, I think someone will throw up a website for you for about $1,000, somewhere around there. But you have to think about maintaining it and updating it and ongoing. So that might be an additional charge. So set up your donor box, your donor account first, and definitely ask family, ask friends, ask everyone to help do sell T-shirts, whatever. If it's just to kind of like get folks to donate, so that can offset some of the costs. And then, and that's why I said it's important to kind of like connect with folks who have the experience, because then they can walk you through what you need to do. So this way you're not like spending so much money. And so literally I have worked. And sometimes people think, start out first from home is great because you get to save some money. Typically with a nonprofit, you get to be home for like about a year before then you kind of like have to find an office someplace. Right. So utilizing co-working spaces, sometimes depending on the type of nonprofit you have, might work. If you're trying to do something healthcare wise, make sure you check with those co-working spaces if those services can be held or housed on site.
Okay.
For us, it wasn't an option, so we had to find some place that was kind of like a standalone. Okay. Then also, don't just rent the first place you see. Look around, check them out. Don't just accept the first offer. Negotiate. The longer your lease, the cheaper it becomes, but you also want to make sure that you are sustainable. So, you want to make sure that you have a viable program that you can say, okay, fine,
right,
you're going to be able to bring in these revenues in order to pay that. So the upfront cost to get started is going to be, you're going to be finding that you're putting out a lot more money and putting a lot more things out. And then, but after a while, it will kind of like level out from there.
Okay. My Denise says we need men's health info too.
Exactly.
Rico makes a comment. Have you spoken to the school system to start a program to help teens and education the parents so that they can be accepted and respected? Are you doing any work with school systems at this point in time?
Not directly. I think we've done some general like testing events in local schools, but nothing, schools are still guarded. You can't say gay, you can't talk about condoms, you can't talk about, there's so many different things. I think Broward County have a little bit more liberal and accepting school environment than, Palm Beach County. Each county decides, their own rules, it seems.
Gotcha.
So that also creates certain barriers. So what we do is that we're out at the Walmarts, handing, brochures and information to the moms. And we're out there at the mall, we're out there at Target. We're trying to really make sure that people have access to the services.
Richardo, you would think that the churches would be partnering with you a lot more too.
Good luck with that.
What's been your experience partnering with churches?
So on some things, they're they're okay with. We just did an event in Boca for they were doing like a reaching out to like they did like a homeless day thing where folks can come in and get showers and stuff like that. They allowed us to come in and do testing and bring condoms. So that, you know, some churches are a lot more progressive than others.
Interesting.
But we kind of like see the same thing. When we talk about abstinence, we really talk about abstinence from a neutral perspective because everyone have different religious beliefs, right? We don't get into the politics of like this religion is right, this religion is the first, this religion is the best. We just want to talk to people and say, hey, here are your options, and here's how you can protect yourself, and here's how you can prevent yourself from becoming a part of the statistics, and let's talk about how you love yourself and how you protect yourself. And you know that we talk about abstinence, we talk about condoms, we talk about biomedical interventions. So you know there's a pill now you can take to prevent HIV. There's also comes in a shot form. You take it every other month. There's some really great things that are out there to help prevent this, and so it's Black and brown people are impacted all across Florida, all across the country. We're only 13% of the population, and yet still we account for more than 50% of the rates of HIV. That's just crazy.
Oh, wow.
I don't understand. I just don't understand that. I just don't. For some reason, I'm having a hard time understanding. Does that mean that we're more sexually active?
No, I think what happened is that a majority of the Black folks are kind of like concentrated like in city areas and stuff like that. So what you end up finding is that, you know, we have closer proximity to people who are living with HIV, and then if we have cases where while people are incarcerated, particularly men, you know, they have situational sex, in some cases voluntarily, in other cases, you know, it's raped and you know they're assaulted. But then because men tend to be proud and they don't want to be seen as weak or anything like that, they sometimes don't say anything. So a lot of male sexual assault tend to go unreported and unnoticed.
Right.
And so they come out, they went in negative, they come out with HIV, and then they go back home to their partners, right? And so then their partners are HIV positive, and then it creates a whole different dynamic. And then you have, you know, historically Black women don't really date much outside of their race. So that means that the pool of men is smaller. And so now you have where it's like 1 out of every 49 Black women is living with HIV. It's crazy, right? So,
all right. So Doug says, I don't believe those stats. I just don't.
I don't believe
now,
it.
Richardo, are you talking Florida or are you talking nationwide?
So nationwide is 1 out of 49 Black women. Compared to white women, it's 1 in 880.
What the heck?
But then you have to look at all of the other components, right? So Black women are less likely to have access to healthcare and healthcare benefits. So which means that they're less likely to go see a provider for preventative things that could be prevented because you know, white women tend to have more of the resources. They have health insurance, they have benefits. Black women tend to kind of like, you know, we know mothers, we put our kids first. We put the family first. So you know, they always put their self last in most cases. So we have to take care, but the Black woman, my mom, always took care of the family first and then took care of herself last. And so that's something that men have to kind of like stand up and say, hey, listen, let me watch the kids. You go to the doctor, go get checked out. You know, let's figure this out together. Well, you know, let me babysit, let Nana babysit so we can do that. Plus, we also, you know, so it's all of these different things because we want to make sure that, and then also when the Black women finally decide to go get tested and screened, some of the resources are not available to them because now they have to go, 20 miles in one direction just to get the services they need. They get there, it's a 2-hour wait. You take off from work, you're not getting paid. So there are like all these other social, economic, and issues that kind of like come up that impacts how people access care and services.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that we do. So if for example, if a Black woman calls us and say, listen, I need an HIV test, but I don't get off work until 5:00, we will say, what time can we meet you? Because we want to make sure that we can provide that services to them. So if it's 8:00 at night, they want to get tested, we can arrange for them to do so, just so they can have the services.
Sounds like all Black women in the whole country need to be tested to me, according to them stats.
So
Richardo, this is, give me a break.
So Doug says something for thought here. I think non-Blacks are hiding their stats because they do all types of things sexually, including animals. And, obviously in this medical realm, we're going to get information that we get. We may or may not get all of the details of certain things because of, like Richardo said, we're talking access and opportunity and, financials. There's a lot of things that are involved with this healthcare industry. And that's why it's so important, this education piece to make sure that we're good, irregardless of these other groups of individuals. But man, we're just appreciative of folks like you, Richardo, in this space. What types of things do you see Campbell Health Solutions stepping into as we move forward? Because you're in the early stages now and you have certain things that you're trying to target. But what's your big picture that you're looking to do?
So we are launching into primary care services next month.
Wow.
We are also launching into Std Screening. We are also doing we've also started doing Concierge Testing. So we'll come to you. You don't have to come to us. And so those you'd have to schedule in terms of like HIV. We're doing primarily HIV right now, but by the end of next month, we'll be offering STD as well. We have, we're just really building a network of folks where we can refer people to for care and treatment. We will have HIV services on site. We have linkage to care. We have mental health and counseling services, but we also have support groups through our partner agencies to be able to provide support. We work very closely with the county to make sure that the county has resources that can pay for housing, that can pay for food, that can do things for clients. So we work very closely with the county to make sure that we can connect folks to those resources. We have a couple of clients right now who are in housing provided by the county. And so we talk to them. We have some individuals who have teenagers. And so we've been working through that and talking about this, sharing statuses and stuff like that. So things like that are happening all around all the time. We're going to be, hopefully next year, we'll start doing some more larger community events and activities because we definitely want to give people greater opportunities to do so. But we're constantly engaging the faith community. We're constantly engaging other pockets. We look for pockets in rural areas is something that we're doing. So this way folks can know that we're there. Folks can have access to that.
Right.
And we'll continue to build out. We'll do trainings. We'll do workshops. So we work with organizations to provide LGBT cultural sensitivity trainings, to provide HIV training as a whole. So, we would love for Walmart to say, hey, come and do this for our entire staff at our staff retreat or something.
Speak that into existence.
Right.
Just speak it into existence. It's going to happen because you said it. Thank you.
Right. Last year, we we went. I think it was like last year. No, it's not last. 2 years ago, we did some trainings with the Legal Aid Society. We trained all of their entire staff in Palm
Nice.
Beach County on LGBT sensitivity. So they did that. We've even went as far as making sure that when the county is giving out doing contracts, that's part of part of the acts that are in there, that they have to kind of like do some sort of LGBT sensitivity training, because we don't want to leave people out and leave people out in the loop. And then we work with other places. We've been reaching out a lot to group homes and foster care agencies, because kids, teenagers, they're going through so much, especially
Yes, they
within
are.
the system. And so sometimes they see sex as an outlet, right? And
True.
so we want to do that. Substance use centers and treatment centers. So we don't have a limit to who we'll work with. We're open to working with anyone, and providing the resources to all communities, even though we have a specific passion for Black and brown folks. But
Yeah.
we work with everyone, because at the end of the day, people will have sex with whoever they want to have sex with, and our goal is not to tell you who you can and cannot have sex with. It's just to say, hey, have you considered using a condom? Have you considered taking PrEP? Have you considered getting tested together? So we run some campaigns on our site, and it's one we have right now called "Follow Me for More Tips," but that's winding down. We post a new one every Wednesday, so that's winding down, and then we'll be launching a new one too. And then we're gonna earlier, I think I mentioned, we're gonna be doing kind of like a membership organization. We just recently launched that, called Nabusi, NOBOSI. And basically it's a network of Black organization for social impact.
Oh,
And
okay.
basically what we want to accomplish with that is the same things that we talk about. Let's talk about, how do you structure your organization? How do you do some SWOT analysis? How do you get into social media and all of these different things? So that we want to build up other Black organizations who are doing the work in the community, so this way they can kind of like get to that next level.
Okay.
So we can have a greater impact.
Love it.
Yeah.
That is so awesome, Richardo. It sounds like, the way you talk, it sounds like that you don't have a funding problem in the world. I mean, all these things, I haven't heard you mention like $1 for nothing so far. So talk about that, will you?
So right now, yes, if you would like to make a donation, your donation will go really far. We use the donations to put back and provide services into the community. So absolutely, you can find our donation link at the top of our website at chs.health. It's not .health.org. We get that sometimes. It's just www.chs.health, and at the top of the page you'll see our donate button. Please consider making a reoccurring monthly donation. That will help us to really kind of like expand our services, and we're starting to see that we need to kind of like hire some more people, or so this way we can kind of like get more of the work done. So
Gotcha.
if you have some pocket change, if you have a lot of money, if you have $1, if you know somebody with some money, definitely make a donation. We'll really greatly appreciate it. All your donations are tax deductible, right? So
Right.
definitely consider that as a way of having a social impact. So you can, donate, have a social impact, and then get the tax benefit from that as well. Come on,
Wow.
Oprah.
Come on,
right.
Oprah.
A nice T-shirt that says, "I made a social impact on society."
I love it.
We've made social impact easy. You can now donate to a program that is really helping our community and helping people who look like you and I to be healthy, to be stronger, to live longer. We need each other, right?
Truth.
So absolutely. So you can have a social impact on that while still reaping the benefit of, having a tax write-off.
That's
Hey.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Let me
Oh
look at
yeah,
these last comments.
Rigo said that we need to add Richardo to our next summit to be one of the panelists because his impact is so great. That is definitely something for us to consider.
So Richardo, we're looking to do an in-person summit. We did a virtual summit, which was an abbreviated version of the larger scale event that we want to do. So stay tuned. That's coming. And, Doug had to tack on something about these pets going on. He said 20 plus years in the pet industry. I've seen some things. LOL.
Oh yeah, probably the gerbils too.
Oh yeah. Hey, Richardo. No, I actually knew of someone who had to get a surgery because they couldn't get the gerbil out, and they had to actually have surgery to have it removed out of the anus.
And it's a special type of gerbil that typically they use. If they use the wrong one, there's someone who actually died because they just went to a regular pet store and got like a gerbil that was not declawed and whatever, and kind of like led to that. But that's a whole different story.
So we go from 13-year-olds getting HIV to now we got people putting gerbils in they
adults, baby. Adults, grown people,
I can't.
Grown folk. That's to each his own. To each his own. I'm not knocking anyone, but leave the damn gerbils alone. Okay,
Doug, I appreciate you so much. Have a great day. We're gonna wrap up. Thank you so much, Doug and Rigo and my Sean Denise and all the folks who are watching. You know what? I don't have any other words. So I'm going to ask you, Richardo, when you think about entrepreneurship and your whole process in this nonprofit world, what are some tips that you would have for folks who, like you, want to provide a service in the community and feel like a nonprofit is their way?
Really think about, really make sure that you really have like a strong mission. Like what are you trying to accomplish? You hear my little guy,
I hear him.
And asking for an icy, right?
Yep, he's like, look, I need my icy. I don't care what you're talking about right now.
You've been on it for a long time now, Dad.
just really kind of like making sure that you create a base. And you all nonprofit, you definitely need to have a board in place. You don't need a full board. You need at least 3 people who can serve as advisors to you and to your organization. And then you also want to make sure that you're opening accounts, a bank account for your organization so you can receive donations. Right. And also you want to make sure that you kind of like start looking at the different types of funding that's out there. There's lots of funding, but every funding isn't for everyone.
Right.
And a lot of those funding comes with a lot of different things. So you might get $100,000, but then the stuff that they're asking from you might be a whole lot that you can manage. So you want to manage that as well. And I know it's hard in the beginning to be like, oh, look, it's an easy $100,000. We can do this. But then you have to look at some of the deliverables, because if they're asking you to do like 50 things and you don't have the capacity for that, then that might be too much for you, because then they'll snatch their money back and then you're just left like high and dry. So you want to make sure you do that. Start out small and kind of just build on. Don't just run out the gate and be like, blah. Just start out small and build on. I mean, I've been at Campbell Health Solutions now for about 1.5 years, and so and we've only had one event. We've sponsored plenty of events, or co-sponsored plenty of events, because we were part of like the planning body or something like that. So that's one way to kind of like get your name out there, and participate in community planning of activities. We've only did one event, and that was our launch, and it was literally a launch party to get to say, look, we're officially in business. But we haven't really planned any activities yet, because we still want to make sure that we build our financial base. Building business credit is also important. You can You can build that with an LLC. You can build it with a nonprofit as well. And my husband, who is our co-founder, is really great at walking folks through, like, this is what you need to do. This is your tier 1, your tier 2, tier 3. So, we've been doing a little bit of that. That's been really helpful.
Awesome.
And just kind of like, make sure you kind of like read everything.
Gotcha.
All the paperwork, make sure you keep everything organized and neat, because everything you sign up for sometimes will ask you for all the information, your EIN number. That's the other thing too. The EIN number is free, so don't let people charge you for an EIN number.
Trust and believe.
So that's your Duns and Bradstreet number is also
great
free.
tip. Great one. Yeah, because people will take you. They will take you on that. Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. Do your research. Look at who's providing similar services in the community in your area, to see if your services is either a match or conflict or kind of like goes against. And so all of these are different things that you can do to kind of like really make sure. But yeah, reach out to trust, create a group of trusted people who you can run ideas and bounce ideas off, but also kind of like do your inventory. A lot of times you have resources at your fingertips, but you have to do your inventory to see what resources they have and when you might need those resources. But also don't overburden people, and understand, most important thing to understand is that your passion for what you're doing, everyone don't have the same passion. So if you are excited about telling, like, oh my God, this is so great, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And people are just like, I don't really know, but here's $20. Take the $20, but know that those people are not going to, they'll support you, but they don't have the same passion and vision that you have for your organization. So you can't make people have that same passion and vision. You just have to be the passion and the vision. Right. And think ahead, plan, be as involved in the communities that you want to serve as possible. Right. Whatever activities are going on, show up, pass out some cards, get to know people, because you'll understand too that people who you're meeting out in the community might direct you to other resources that you can benefit from. So keep that in mind. Get a business phone number, a business email. Reach out to folks. Make sure people have your contact. Be on certain lists, so this way you can know what's happening, what's going on in the community, and network. Network.
So what do you have coming? What do you have coming up, Richardo?
So just we're opening our second site in August, so that's what we have coming up. We'll be launching that soon. In November, the early part of November, and this is one of the big parts too. We really don't tell people about this part. This is kind of like how we give back. And basically, when we say we mean Campbell Health Solution, all of our staff, our family members of our staff, and friends. And so you can participate too by making a donation to us. We basically give out, every quarter, we do a Campbell Giving, where we basically cook, prepare, and deliver or give out warm plates to individuals who are experiencing hunger. So we don't do it in one space where people have to find us and come from all over the county to us. We basically go load it up in our vehicles, and we fan out across the city and drive up and down the street and find people where they are and provide them with warm plates and something to drink. So we do that. The next one is we've fed 240 people so far.
Wow.
So with only 2 events in 5 months. And so we are doing one again we were supposed to do it in September, but we have some things. So we're doing it in November, the early part of November, before Thanksgiving. Right. We don't do anything on Thanksgiving because it's when a lot of other agencies do stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next time after that is on Christmas Day. So
Nice.
we do it, and then the kids come back and then they open their gifts. So
Aw,
Nice.
we've been seeing less interest in gifts and more interest in giving, which is truly amazing. So
love
That's
it.
awesome. Do you need volunteers?
yes, so I'll definitely send out some information to Sandy, so this way you guys can have it.
Okay.
But usually folks just come up and you can bring a plate. We try to keep it simple. We do like rice, chicken, beans, some veggies, water bottles, and some non-perishable items like chips and apples, or well, that's kind of perishable, but it's kind of like stuff that folks can eat like afterwards, like in the
Right.
night or the next day.
Right.
So we ask people to donate like a pan of rice or a pan of chicken, or they can come and help pack and prepare, or they can come and help with distributing food and stuff like that. So any part of the process you feel like you can give, we totally accept it. And we've had
we're gonna help
from Miami and from Broward.
LearnBiz will definitely help this year, so you can count on us to help.
Awesome.
Sweet. All right, so we're at the closing point. So anything else that you have coming up, Richardo, that you'd like to share?
No, not right now. Just that we're going to be launching that Nabusi, and then from there, we'll probably roll that out in September. So this way, folks can kind of be part of that. So we might be reaching out and to you guys and having you guys provide some trainings and stuff like that as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
We love it. Thank you.
Okay, tell folks how to reach you, Richardo, and we definitely will post your information in the description because we want to make sure that you can get some more folks to communicate with you directly.
Awesome. You can reach us at www.chs.health. You can also contact us by calling 561-208-6595. You can email us at rjackson@chs.health. Or you can follow all of our social media, which is Campbell Health Solutions. It's on TikTok, which that's some really crazy stuff. TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and also on podcasts. I think we're on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean, and Anchor, and like some other place.
Okay.
So there's a wide diversity in how you can find us, and yeah.
Absolutely. And I've also posted the link to your YouTube channel because I know that you will continue to pump up your YouTube. But thank you so much, Richardo. We truly appreciate you for coming on here and giving us a better understanding of, what Campbell Health Solutions is all about and just being a nonprofit entrepreneur. So we definitely tell folks, please go to www.chs.health and make sure that you support this amazing organization called Campbell Health Solutions.
I'm so glad you're in that space. Thank you so much for your amazing work. And we know you're going to grow and get bigger and help more and more people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richardo. All right, stay with us for just a moment. Guys, thank you so much again for tuning in to LearnBiz The Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at B-is-for-B-I-Z. You could also support us through Cash App. LearnBiz is the $. And definitely look out for our upcoming episodes. Lisa, let them know who we have coming up on Friday.
Yes, you guys stay tuned for winemaker and distributor Nikki Coachman. He will be our guest on Friday talking about winemaking, and not just any old winemaking. We're talking about organic wine. How about that? So, people don't realize all the different additives that can be added to wine. And so he's going to talk about and educate us about wines and the business, how he got into the business. Him and his daughter started this business. And so it's going to be a very great entrepreneur story. Stay tuned for that on Friday. Nikki Coachman talking about winemaking and wine distribution.
And if you missed our live stream yesterday, we talked about the Sesame Place story, and we did a little spin on it and talking about the perspective from an entrepreneur side. So definitely check that out on our Instagram. We're going to be doing some more live streams on Instagram. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button, click the like button, and be sure to share this video so that we can spread this information about this wonderful organization called Campbell Health Solutions and the CEO and founder, Richardo Jackson. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great day and look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.